Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're good. Welcome to Inside Football. I'm your new host, Yeni. I'm sitting here with the technical director of TFA, Mr. Ali El Jishi. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Jenny. How are you?
I am very well, very well. As I said, this is season 3 of Inside Football. Your new host, all the way from South Africa. And right now on Zoom, we have Mr. Arian Hoxha. How are you, sir?
Good, thank you. How are you, gentlemen?
I am well, I am well. So, this is the Inside Football, the business of football. Welcome again. Mr. Hoxha, I will be firing some questions to you, and just feel free to answer them genuinely, and we'll take it from there.
Certainly.
All right, wonderful. Right, so the first question, Mr. Hoxha, is can you tell us a little bit about your journey of you becoming president of Rush Soccer?
Yes, I started working with Colorado Rush, which is our initial club, um, just a few months after the club was founded. Um, in about 4 years, I worked there as a team coach. And then I was hired as a part of the developmental program staff, which I was a member for about a couple of years. Around 2004, I was named the junior boys director for the club and remained in that role till about 2006. Um, During this time, the club became a franchise and had around 5 other partner clubs in various locations in US. It was in 2006 when I was named the technical director for Hawaii Rush Partner Club, where I still hold the role. Um, from 2007 to present, um, obviously Rush Soccer has enjoyed incredible growth, not only in the US, but also globally. In 2009, I was named one of the 4 national technical directors, overseeing mainly our Western region with 3 other guys. Um, I served on that role till about June 2022. At that time, I became the president of Rush, which I still hold to this day.
So, as you know, this Inside Football series, we try to give people around the world an inside picture of the business of football. And the Rush story is a great story, and this is why we're partnering with you guys. So, we're going to call this episode Rush to Dubai because you guys will be partnering with us next season. How do you feel about Dubai or this part of the world in the football?
Uh, Personally, I'm super excited. We've always been inspired to have Rush around that part of the world. I just experienced myself the World Cup in Doha. Spent 2 weeks there recently,
Oh, brilliant.
and that was my first time in the Middle East, to be honest. And I was delighted. I was very, very pleased with um, the football culture, the normal, day-to-day culture. Uh, it was a very, very exciting experience, not only because of the World Cup, but also again being inside the culture, being experiencing myself in person, um, the Middle East and a country like Qatar. It was unreal.
I was there too. Which game did you catch?
Oh, I saw about 8 or 9, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it was a
The,
bunch of games.
the one thing, like you say here, I mean, the Middle East or the Arab culture is crazy about football, and you saw that in Qatar, that's for sure.
Yes, yes, of course. It was very apparent, and the passion and the enthusiasm, the attention to the game, the emotions. I happened to watch Saudi Arabia play Argentina.
Oof, the shock,
Um,
the big shock.
yeah, and I was in at the venue where Saudi Arabia had set up their big screen and had all their fans there.
Oh
So
wow, yeah,
I experienced something very unique.
yeah. Messi didn't have a good night that night.
Hey, good for Saudi.
Yeah, they were very happy. We
Yeah,
saw it.
now very good for Saudi. Now, so that now that Rush has become an international franchise, The viewers watching here, we have a lot of people who are starting new academies. And the key thing that we'd like to share with them is, can you share the areas of generating income or generating income in the football business? What are the key areas for those who are watching?
The world of youth football in US is a unique one. For us, the main revenue is generated by membership dues. It is a bit unfortunate, but since there is no support financially from the Football Federation and due to the massive number of clubs around the country, um, it is at least for now, the main source of revenue. There has been recently a move towards securing um, sponsorships, partnerships with local and national business to amortize the cost of doing business and lowering the burden for the membership. Um, as most of the partner clubs are nonprofit, the revenue generated is almost entirely recycled into the club to pay for improved services, better qualified staff and administrators, etc. Um,
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Dubai is very similar to America. Sorry to cut you, but Dubai we have
yeah.
for a small city about 100 football academies here, and it is all membership.
Yeah,
It's all
probably over
membership.
100.
100 academies. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, sure.
It has proven itself throughout time, and the sport has evolved and survived pretty well, at least in the U.S.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, for new club owners who are looking into expanding, or you even have new people starting football clubs, what advice would you give them, seeing that now you have an international reach and more experience? Because we can all agree that they've experienced everything from the ups to the downs.
It's a tough business, and I believe also Colorado was one of the main ones that you started with, if I'm right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
How was that journey at the
well,
beginning?
yeah, Russia has proven the model has proven itself, and we've grown considerably, enjoying over 50,000 members at the moment. I think the main areas that I would mention is understanding the market and the demographics of the area that you plan to establish the club. Have a clear and unique mission statement that stands out from the typical competitors. Um, Secure the services of experienced staff that does not have the pressure to win, but rather has the passion and the experience, expertise to develop players. Um, Obviously, winning and success will follow if you put these things together. Um, as far as suppliers, direct sales to customers without middle agency or distributors and competitive pricing can be key to growth and market shares. Securing local or national sponsorships is obviously a great resource.
It's interesting because, like you say, the USA is a very competitive market. I think since soccer took off there, the number of academies and schools are huge. You mentioned that you should know your USPs. What would you say the Rush USP was right from the beginning? Because when you start small, which what we did in Dubai, it's very difficult to stand out among the noise. What did you guys do?
I believe the most unique thing that I remember was the group of people that came together and developed the idea and the vision of what Rush was. Um, we brought together two different clubs. That one of the clubs was very successful on the boys' side, and the other club was very successful on the girls' side.
Interesting.
And the leadership kind of um, got away from the egos and the competitiveness, and immediately recognized that this could be the best club in the country if we come together and form this unique idea. And it had immediate success for the next 5, 6, maybe even up to 10 years. Rush was a very dominant club in the United States, winning 11 national championships, producing players that went to the higher levels, um, and it was a club wide kind of success. It wasn't intermittent or it wasn't spotty. It was top to bottom.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we've just signed up to partner with you guys because we really felt the synergy. And you said two interesting things there. Number one, a common target. So as I grew the TFA Academy in Dubai, it was always about getting people that understood that the football academy stands for football first, commercial second, which is very difficult to do in a very noisy market when there's a lot of competition. But really, every decision we made, me and the team, was football first. You know, we'd only include girls or junior programs, or if it meant a forward of the football program, we'll do it. Otherwise, we didn't do it. And the second great thing you said is good people. And in every business, it's nearly impossible without a good team around you.
True. Yeah, you really do need a good team because I feel like if people don't understand the vision in the beginning, they can affect the business a lot. You know, they won't focus on that football aspect alone, but now it becomes a grow fast scheme, and then it's all about money.
And like Arian said, especially in a competitive sport where there's a lot of ego.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing to do.
It's really not. It's really not. Now, my other question, Mr. Arian, is that now with American soccer, with your experience now that you have expanded internationally, how does it compare to international soccer? To what are the key differences there?
I might step into a live mine here when this topic comes across, but there's a few angles on this topic. And the main one is the fact that the sport is still relatively young in the country. We're competing for the best athletes with 4 other major sports, well financed and organized. The Major League Soccer is finally showing some ambition to organize itself in a way that it would control the direction that the sport would go in the next 10, 20 years. Once MLS, Major League Soccer, can become the main platform for the sport, for the pro level to the grassroots, I believe the sport will eventually have its path and organize itself to develop the world-class players and keep the majority of the league increasing the public, media and the sponsorship, the ownership, the interest and investment. So basically, it needs a bit more focus here.
Very similar to what the Premiership did in English football. You know, when that became the flagship, then everything else aligns. I think that's your point. Yeah, great point.
And to echo a couple of things that you mentioned, it is all about a vision. It's all about people, and also the focus. Being football run, it's the main thing that everybody needs to focus on. If it becomes a money issue, an administrative issue, it will struggle. It eventually might get there, but it will have its struggle. So it is key that the football people and the coaching is what runs and drives the vision.
I think very interestingly, what we've seen in MLS, especially in the last year or two, is the shift to becoming business savvy. Because the MLS obviously at some point was, you know, a token league, if you like, without stepping into a landmine myself. And then it became retirement league, where a lot of the professional players will go finish. But the last 2 seasons, they've shifted into a developmental league where they're selling players into Europe, which has become brilliant. You know, they're shopping in South America, they're shopping in parts of the world, and of course they're producing young American players. And now there's a shift where it has now become a producing league, and I think that's what you're talking about. The MLS now is taking control. The Americans have always been brilliant in business, and when they combine that with sport, you know, then I think the future is looking very bright for you guys.
Yeah, 100%. Now that
Let's hope so.
World Cup coming soon as well, huh? So we'll be coming to watch it on your side next time.
there we go.
Correct.
Now that
we're expecting a little bit of bump on the growth and the business development on that.
Oh, I'm sure. I think that's what the '94 World Cup did, right, in America. That's when it all launched properly.
Yeah, now that we've touched on developing players and especially producing world-class players in the US. So, what advice would you give aspiring football players, or should I say soccer players, who really want to take on this career? What advice would you give them? Uh, it could be internationally or even in the USA.
Um, this is a difficult one because the way that the kids develop here in US, it's very different from the rest of the world. The sport has a much bigger spectrum of what it provides for players, and to be quite honest, positively enough, there is a wider range than the rest of the world where the kids can find themselves in a position where they can enjoy similar experiences as a professional player, maybe without the monetary incentive. And I feel that in US that has helped quite a bit to develop the youth, the grassroots part of the game. The thing about players that would like to become professional, it's one thing, but then players that can enjoy the game at quite high level and without becoming professional, it always comes as like mainly the way that the at least the business goes in US. Um, in Rush, we have pathways, and our vision is to basically create a pyramid that um, provides the kids from the grassroots all the way to the professional environment and provide them the opportunities to get there. And all these layers that we have in the pyramid, they have their own building blocks. We continuously um, adjust and look for better methodology, for better resources, and we feel that we're in a pretty good position right now. But um, it's an ongoing process. Having the players prepared, um, you know, physically prepared, mentally, um, having the staff that will cater to their inspirations, having the platforms that they can experience their growth and use it to their advantage. A little bit of luck as well, because you gotta have coaching staff that consistently brought you up as a player from the grassroots all the way to the higher levels, and obviously the mental set that an individual has to have in order to go through this grueling, process of becoming a professional.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just to share with you from our side here, when we started 7 years ago, and the first thing for us was, okay, what's the pathway? You've got to have a pathway. There's got to be an end product
True.
to this exercise. And interestingly enough, when I came to Dubai in 2012, something struck me, and it was very apparent. Under 12, there was about 30 to 40 football academies. Under 18, 4 or 5 that would operate.
Interesting.
So basically, that get them to out of junior football, and it
Right.
would stop.
It would stop.
And funny enough, the
Yeah.
first thing we did is create pathways to get scholarships to the USA.
Of course.
I
Yeah.
think that's what you're talking about. That there is an alternative career that you can study and play football.
True.
Now, to come back to your point, the formula is simple, and Arian touched on it earlier. You got to get into a good academy that does offer a pyramid. Okay, there is a lot of good academies in Dubai. We're not claiming to be the only one.
Of course.
But if there is no pathway at the end, what's the point of the exercise?
Yeah.
Second of all, good coaching and a good program. And if you don't do that at a very young age, it's nearly impossible to bridge the gap between amateur football
Exactly.
to professional football.
I think this also sets different academies aside of which one has the bigger vision, because I think we can all agree that a lot of academies are just in it for the money, and it's money first, football later. They don't care about what happens to you later on. But what I love about TFA Rush is that pathway, that bridge. You provide, players, you produce results, and this is what sets you apart.
I think the key word Arian used is evolving.
Evolving.
There is no
yeah.
just one pathway. It changes every year, every
Yeah.
time there's a new dynamic.
True.
It keeps changing. So yeah, it's interesting
Yeah.
how we both had similar visions. We're much smaller, and the US is much bigger, but
Yeah.
it's the same conception.
Yeah. True. All right. I'm
Well,
just gonna switch
the
this.
size, the size, I think it's to your advantage a little bit
Hmm.
because again, US is so big,
Mm.
and obviously the most established pathway in US is like via MLS academies,
Hmm.
and the most inspired players are limited at their options overseas or established, well-established clubs, mainly because of immigration laws or countries' football rules and all that. So it is a little bit of a moving target right now, and it seems like it's going in a positive direction. But the unique part about Rush Soccer is that again we're partnering with something like TFA, and that's why we're doing that, to create these unique opportunities and to expand um, the area where the kids can have opportunities.
Yeah, pathways.
Pathways. Good. Right. I'm gonna switch this up quickly. So, Mr. Arian, growing up, let's just derive a little bit. This is now about you. Growing up, you used to watch soccer a lot. Who was your idol?
Um, I was lucky enough to, experience the golden era in Italian Serie A.
Oh.
And believe it or not, I grew up watching Diego, watching, Michel Platini, all these big idols, Rummenigge and all that. And to be honest, I fell in love with Diego, and he's been always my football idol. There's other players as well that
Yeah.
have come along and I'm fascinated with, but I think he is the greatest.
And he was a resident of Dubai. If you
Oh
knew,
yeah,
yeah, he was in Dubai. Yeah. I met him in Dubai.
Mr.
Yeah,
Maradona.
and I agree with you on that one. The best of the best was Diego.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Diego Maradona. All right. So, and which, what was your favorite match? Is it a recent match or an older match? Your favorite match that you've watched, all-time favorite?
Um, again, it's difficult, but uh, there's one that sticks out as a kid. Watching football as a kid, I was very young, and if you guys remember, in the '80s, Belgium was a very powerful nation as far as football.
Hmm.
They were called the Red Devils, and they came to play for a European qualifier in my country, in Albania, and we beat them 2-0.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah.
I remember very vividly that what an incredible experience for a country like ours, a small country that had difficulty developing football
Mm.
without the resources, on a difficult political climate and all that. And I remember like 25,000 people going absolutely crazy for 2 hours on that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
I've never experienced something, at least until that moment.
The power of
Um,
football.
and another one, obviously, that I'm a Liverpool fan.
Hmm.
So the game in 2005 in Istanbul, where Liverpool went down 3-0 in the first half, and then they came back and won. That game is another one that is you cannot forget.
Well, I wasn't going to mention Liverpool because I'm always accused of being biased on the podcast. I'm a Liverpool fan too, and I was
Yeah.
there. So I was going to say to you that was the game. That is
Yeah.
the game of all games. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Two Liverpool fans.
They
Wonderful.
they did it again with Barcelona. That could be another one that you could be like, oh my God,
Don't
how can
worry.
you
I
forget
taunt
that?
every Barcelona fan with that for life.
No, wonderful. All right. Last question, because time's running out. I'm just going to speed up. If you could change one thing about the business of football, what would it be? Just one.
Um, there's something that will always remain unanswered. What would the game look like without the massive amount of money that is spent every year? Correct.
Correct. Yeah.
Um, However, the only thing I would like to change is maybe the ability to keep the game safe from gambling allow the smaller markets around the world to flourish a little bit, as some of the Western European countries, and let the game become a little bit more what it really is, the people's game, you know?
Yeah.
I would add, or if I can, the beautiful game run by a lot of bad people. You know, I think if you could eliminate a lot of those guys, this beautiful game will continue to be beautiful,
100%.
especially for the kids that just come into it for the pure joy of playing football. And unfortunately, as you go up the pyramid and you get involved in the professional side or the money side, it gets ugly.
Yeah, 100%. Right.
I second that.
Right. We have now come to the end of our podcast. Mr. Hoxha, thank you so much for joining us and taking this time to speak with us. And to you, boss, Mr. Ali El Jishi, technical director. I love that term, technical director.
And thank you for your time, honestly. We could talk football for hours. But,
100%.
thank you, Arian, and we look forward to meeting you in person.
It has been the pleasure, gentlemen, and I say the same. I look forward to meeting you one day in person.
Okay, pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to
Take
meet
care.
you. Wonderful. Remember to
Take
like and subscribe this video, and if you want to share it with your friends, go ahead. And we'll see you next time. This is Inside Football, and we'll see you soon.